Hey, you know, I could probably eat pizza just about every day of the week, but in this video, I'm not going to be eating it. I'm going to be using it to show you what I would call a magic move to help you swing more like the pros on TV and hit longer and straighter drives. So stay tuned. Hey, this is Steve from HitItLonger.com. I'm on a journey to hit longer and straighter drives, and if you are too, then you might consider subscribing to my channel to get notification of all my future content. Okay, let's talk about pizza. My favorite is pepperoni and mushroom. If you like this video at the end, why don't you put down in the comments your favorite flavor of pizza, favorite toppings. But let's talk about pizza a little bit more. Now, if you've been watching my channel at all, you know that I'm a disciple of Mike Austin, the legendary teacher and long drive hitter. Held the world record for longest drive in a professional round of golf. 1974 United States Senior Open at 515 yards, and he was around 60 years old or so when he did it. Just an incredible feat. He thought it was more than just physics. He thought that the ball was held up by the hand of God. A really interesting story that he used to tell. He also had a disciple that you might have heard of if you're watching this video. His name was Dan Schauger. Dan taught here in the San Fernando Valley, not too far away from me, and he introduced a really interesting concept that showed this move. It demonstrated this same move I'm going to show you, but a lot of people just didn't understand it the way he presented it. So I'm hoping that I'm going to use this pizza box to, unfortunately I finished it all, but I'm going to show you the box, and hopefully it's going to illustrate to you a really super critical move. You almost might call a magic move that really does do a lot in separating a good player from a not so good player, not only in the plane of the swing, but also in a big key to getting more power and clubhead speed, and also a big key in accuracy as well. So you learn this, how can you go wrong? You're getting everything for the price of admission. So let's get right into how I'm going to use this pizza box to make you hit longer and straighter. Okay, so hey, Dan Schauger's concept, it was called spin the meatballs. And I've gotten a lot of questions over the years on, hey, what was spin the meatballs? I didn't really understand it. So hopefully I'm going to show you an exercise that's going to explain that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be pizza delivery boy. And I've got the tape side of the pizza pointing at the camera, you'll see. And I'm just holding it up here, and almost like I'm taking an oath. Or throwing a football almost. That's another analogy that people might understand, is I've got it in a football throwing position if I was going to throw that way. Okay, so if you're in this position with your right arm and you know, your upper arm, forearm, and wrist, you're probably about halfway to 2/3 of the way back in your swing. So as you approach the top of the swing is where the first part of this motion is going to happen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pizza, and you see that it's taped side at you. It's a little windy here still after the fires. I'm going to just rotate the box about 45 degrees. So now the point, the corner of the box is facing you. Now this would be the move, the normal move that my upper arm, forearm, and wrist will be doing to wind up the club as I reach the top of the swing. Now this would put me about at parallel at the top, or not just parallel in length, but also parallel in parallel to my line of flight with the club shaft at the top. And I'll show you that with the shaft in a minute. But let's just get back and isolate the motion only, because I think without a club for now it's much easier to understand. So here I've wound up the forearm and the upper arm to in an external rotation in order to finish the backswing and wind up the wrist for more power. Now, as I start down, I'm going to turn the box back tape side, and then another 45 degrees to where this point is now facing you. You see, like this. Now what I would recommend is, I'll show you all in context and everything. I'll even show you from a different angle in a second. But I would recommend that you practice doubling these values. So again, if I start tape side at you, neutral. If I turn this 90 degrees, you see, if I actually did this, I would end up probably with a backswing like either a Fred Couples or a Matthew Wolf, where the club goes across the line to the top. You can see my elbow. I'll show you from this angle now. Here's tape side forward. Okay, here's 45 degrees. Okay, right to there, and that would be a normal position at the top. But if I went 90 degrees, you see I start getting the flaring right elbow, or the flying right elbow a la Jack Nicklaus. But in this position, my club shaft will be well across the line to the right. And definitely will give you more power, but arguably maybe harder to control. Hard to tell. We'll see how Matthew Wolf's career pans out, and we'll get more evidence on whether or not we can be consistent and accurate from this position. Now on the way down again, you're going to be, so here's that 45 degree wound up position. Okay, and I'm going to unwind now 90 degrees to where I'm 45 unwound to where I started. You see what happens to the elbow and the hand and the wrist as it unwinds. You see, this is what Dan meant by, oh, my shoulder's tired. This is what Dan meant by spinning the meatballs. He meant that you had a big tray of meatballs and you were going to spin it back and forth, just like I'm doing with this pizza box. I think the fact that this has corners and sides makes it a little bit easier to tell how much it's turning rather than just a cylinder. This has landmarks, corners and sides. So I just like this a lot better. Let me grab a club here and I'll show you how this motion will work when you have a club in your hand instead of a pizza box. All right, and with the magic of editing, I'm back. I've replaced the pizza box with a 9-iron here. And I'm going to show you the same exercise, choking down on the 9-iron here. So here would be about 2/3 of the way back, let's say, in my backswing. And now that I have familiarized myself with the motion using the pizza box, it'll be easy to recreate that and draw the club all the way and get it parallel to the line of flight. Let me show you from this angle now. So here's the original pizza box. I'm about a 2/3, maybe you might even call it a 3/4 length swing. And here I'm going to go winding the pizza box up about 45 degrees so that the corner would be facing that way now, just like I showed you at the beginning. And that puts the club in a good position, pointing right down the line at the target. So if I wanted to rotate another 45 degrees the pizza box to where the whole side was showing, I would get into this position here. Very similar. I'll show you up here in the corner of the screen. The Matthew Wolf and Fred Couples swings will be coming up here. Where they go well across the line. This is technically it really is a wind-up move. It just winds up the wrist and forearm for more power, just as you would be doing if you were winding up for a sidearm throw. And that's basically what they're doing on the way down, is parlaying this motion, this elbow, and then going reverse with it in order to accelerate the club head to an even faster speed. So it would be take it up and spin the pizza. Now on the way down, the reverse pizza spin would look like this, and that would serve to shallow the club out, the swing plane out, and get it dropped into the slot where we can really hit with some serious power with the club face square to the arc as well. So it just drops it into such a solid position. That's why I think you could call this a magic move in your swing, because the position it puts you in the slot, it makes you pretty bulletproof from there down into the ball for hitting it long and straight off the tee. Long and straight just in general. So here it is here, and without any pivot or anything like that, I'll just show you the move itself. Is spin the pizza. Looks like that. You can see my elbow is going to end up, if I add a pivot to it, step down and over, spin the pizza 90 degrees. You see it's going to put my elbow in front of my pocket here, really shallow the club, and really put me in position to be able to sling that arm and wrist through with a ton of speed. So I definitely recommend that you try the pizza box idea and go at least 45 degrees, but I would practice 90 in each direction just to enhance the feeling of what the arm is doing and make it easier for you to recall it when you're over the ball. Okay, I'm going to attempt to put the exaggerated, in other words, a whole side of pizza and then back full 180 degrees or so on this shot. So you might see my club go across the line at the top. Then hopefully we'll drop in. Boy, that forearm being in that position really feels like it gives me a turbocharge at the bottom of the swing with the wristy whipping action I can get at the bottom. Let's see if I can use this wind up and reversal now to step it up the speed a little bit more. See what I can do. Ball was hit pretty good. Okay, that last shot, I've got my TrackMan unit sitting right here off the camera, just off, and you can see up on the screen here the flight and the numbers on that last shot. Above 95 miles an hour and 163 yards on a 9-iron. That's pretty impressive. Definitely a lot of speed there. I think I had peaked out about 97 in the few balls that I just hit. So a heck of a lot of speed there. Definitely more speed than I'm used to getting just from this. Spinning the pizza box and then spinning it the other way. So how fast you can spin it the other way as well is going to be how quickly, okay, is also going to be a function of how fast you can, how fast your club head speed is going to be in general. Don't forget that this move does not exist in a vacuum. So I'm taking it up here, and I'm going to make this move. Remember, it's not this move where I drop the elbow in. It's just rotating the arm to where it gets in front of the pocket, and I'm stepping down and pivoting at the same time. So it's here and here. It just kind of feels like I'm leading with the point of this elbow. This is the medial epicondyle, the inside point here. Feels like I'm leading that at the ball, almost as if I'm going to drop into a karate chop position. And I think you'll feel that when you get the pizza box going. Okay, just to review again, we got the box here, tape side at you, rotating, and then spinning the meatballs this way. You see how that makes this point of the elbow get in front of the front line of the body here. So here, if I go extra, looks like I've got a little flying right elbow, and then wham, I put it in reverse, and I go from flying right elbow, club across, all of a sudden, karate chop, shallowed out in the slot. I think just practicing this, you know, every day for 3 or 4 minutes before you go to the range, and then, you know, don't make this the only thing you practice at the range, but practice with it 10, 15 balls, a bucket, and see if it leads you into anything. Now, I didn't have a feeling of control right away, but I wouldn't have a feeling of control with any type of swing change at first. The speed was certainly there, but I'd have to practice it a while to get really consistent with it. Okay, so I'm up to the driver now. And let's take a look from this angle, the down the line angle, what this might look like. I get to about this point in the swing. The pizza box will be neutral, right there. And I've turned the pizza box about 90 degrees here. And the club is a bit across the line to my right. As I step down and return my left butt cheek to the wall, I'm spinning the pizza box the other way, putting it in the slot, setting me up for the whip through going through. Let me see if I can do this successfully without hitting the ball too poorly on the first try. Pretty good drive there down the left center. It's not too bad of a first attempt at 293, but in the fairway. Let's see if I can push it a little faster now. Same move, spin it faster, step over and pivot equally fast. That's a big hit. Let's check it out. It's a really big hit given that club head speed, and certainly it didn't feel like I was working at my usual 112 miles an hour. That felt more like maybe a 108, 109 effort. So there's definitely, in spinning the meatballs, not only are we getting some extra club head speed there and for distance, but we're also getting the club then to drop into the slot and release for a square club face a lot easier and more accuracy too. Well, I can tell you one side note as a result that I'm noticing, that a side effect that I didn't know I was going to get as much of was as I turn this way more and then back, my angle of attack is going crazy. I'm hitting up on the ball 7 degrees pretty consistently, and I'm now consistently getting my carry distance over 300 yards. So what an added bonus that is. Hey, so this drive you're seeing up on the screen here, hey, this represents my my highest club head speed, highest distance, highest carry distance of any drive I've hit since I injured my wrist almost a year and a half ago. It's been a long comeback, but I'll tell you, I just put a big supercharge into my club head speed and my overall distance just by incorporating a little bit more of this pizza box spinning idea of winding up the forearm, unwinding it. Hopefully you saw that in the slow-mos that I just posted right before this. I would really recommend giving this idea a try if you're looking for more power. You can see it worked for me really well, and it's really it's a simple concept on paper. You know, when you pick up the pizza box, or you know, you could use a plate, I suppose, or any kind of tray, and turn it the right amount in each direction, and that's the motion that a good tour pro is using. You know, somebody on TV that you might watch, most of these guys are doing some sort of amount of this motion, and so it really is kind of like a magic move that all the pros do. On paper it's pretty simple. I would practice it, just the motion in isolation over and over again until you can figure out how you're going to incorporate into a shot. And I would start on the driving range, and I'd start with a fairly easy swing with a short club, like always, hit about 5 or 10 balls just real easy and try to get the feel for it. And Don't take this idea out onto the course until it's just happening naturally for you. You don't want to be thinking about stuff this type of complex movement on a fast swing right off the bat. It's going to take you some repetition. Hey, thanks for watching again. Thanks for tuning into my channel. If you got some value out of this video, I'd love to have you hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment down below. Maybe I'll see you in the next video, and if not, maybe I'll see you longer and straighter down the fairway.